Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Okay, I'll call the meeting. Is it time? Yes, I'll call the meeting to order. Matt is in San Francisco, it looks like. I left the fire station open. Lights are on. It's all open. I'll go down and close it later. Guy Payne is what was to come in. Is there anything you want on the agenda that isn't on the agenda? Any public comment from your non-trustees? Like I see the drum on behind your guy. John?
Aye.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the October 19, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or corrections?
Carl, could you double check? I thought there was one Howell, but maybe I'm getting it confused with the previous minutes.
Oh, okay, I will check for that.
I know it's autocorrect and you can't do much about it, but.
And I don't always get them all. I will double check and I will delete
Thank
it.
you.
There's one.
Okay, all those in favor of the accepting the minutes of October 19, with possible exception of some spelling error, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Okay, broadband warrants and bills. We only had the two bills, right?
Yeah, small one.
Okay, so any questions about the bills?
Just to point out that it looked to me like in the very bottom, not bills that we're paying, there was a comma instead of a period. So just look at that number the next time you pull up the spreadsheet. Is that Alex's spreadsheet? Where do we get that?
I make that up.
Okay,
I
just check.
pick up the bills and I write this down. Okay, yeah.
It's nitpicking. I
It's
apologize.
$30.39 instead of 39,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's
Something like
comma
that.
99 instead of period 99.
Okay. Makes a difference.
3,800 instead of 3 million.
All right. I will make sure he doesn't pay too much. And you notice the loans are coming due in December down the bottom there. And that money is in the bank and they will just automatically withdraw it.
Yep.
Oh, did we have a motion on that? Yes.
Oh, we didn't.
Okay, I may entertain a motion to approve the warrant for the amount of whatever it is. I don't even have it written down here.
I move that we approve the warrant for 2 invoices in the amount of $489.
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. All right, broadband access. Who knows about this stuff? Did anybody read all that stuff? Watch that video?
I did a little research to try and figure out what the areas of Saxtons River were that needed access. I looked at a public service board map.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's maybe somebody else has some information, but it looked to me like VTEL had pretty good fiber coverage through the village. But I'm not running a small business, so maybe I'm the wrong person to weigh in on this.
And this would be a town level issue, not a village level, at least according to what the state has published. It would be really 2 or more towns getting together. But I think it's important for us to say to the town of Rockingham if there's a need for it in the village.
I thought the point of the email was that the town of Rockingham did not entertain that motion. They were not interested.
Right, but if we think they should change their mind.
We
I
could
believe
lobby for that.
Yeah, I believe that the town has to be, well, if I read the state's the statute correctly, I believe that the towns have to be the level that propose this or that form the district, but I could be mistaken.
Does anybody have any strong feelings about this?
How about outside the village proper, just in the surrounding area, like further up Hartley Hill or up on Paradise
Well,
Hill?
that wouldn't concern us as village trustees, I would.
That would be a
Suspect.
town issue.
No, but I'm sort of curious as to whether or not the village is an island or whether or not the detail coverage is generally good in the area.
Well, I guess we'd have to ask somebody who lives up there, right? Bonnie North said she would be happy to come and talk to us about it if we wanted more information. She's the representative of the town on the Wyndham Regional Commission. So I guess it is.
Well, I guess the only thing for me to find out is we already have fiber optic through VTEL. So I realize the state is trying to service all of Vermont with this, so what does the broadband do for us? To me, it doesn't sound like it does anything for us. If we already have fiber optic, unless it's 2 or 3 times quicker or stronger. That would be the only question for me.
Well, what are the telephone options other than VTEL? Might there be people in the village that aren't VTEL subscribers?
Comcast.
And
You can get your phone number through Comcast, which is the only provider for. No, VTEL provides television too. So Comcast and VTEL.
so I'm wondering if there's enough non-VTEL subscribers that an alternative broadband might be useful. That might be something to consider.
I didn't get whatever you're reading, but I thought that statewide broadband was for areas where private companies did not offer it. Am I incorrect?
Well, are there areas in Rockingham that fit that description?
I doubt it, but because most of the areas I'm reading are, Northeast Kingdom and stuff.
Mhm.
When we're, what I've been reading over the last few months about broadband and access to everybody having access, I just assume, either it's free or B, they don't have any access at all.
Well, there are districts in southern Vermont. It's not all just up in the Northeast Kingdom. So some people are getting their service through something like this.
Okay.
But I don't
So
know if there's a need
I'll
for-
go back to this is a Saxtons River Village meeting.
Yeah,
Is it
Okay.
something we don't really need to take up what's good for Rockingham when we're talking about Saxtons River? I suspect that would be on our own time. So if we want more information for the village of Saxtons River, we should do so.
Mhm.
But we have 2 providers right now. One is Comcast and one is VTEL.
Mhm.
Or broadband is available for everyone here.
Right.
Excellent.
Within the village limits.
Correct.
Okay. So if anybody wants to do any research on their own related to the town, go ahead.
Yep.
Sewer fee questions. Amy, did you want to bring up your little question?
I'd be happy to, since I wrote to the trustees about it earlier. So the question is, someone who is renting a room to a friend, so an income stream, do they owe a second sewer bill because they're a commercial establishment? And Louise's take was, well, if you don't advertise and it's a friendly arrangement, asking someone to share expenses essentially, then you shouldn't pay a second sewer bill. I had discussed this with Carl at some point, and he recommended I talk to Ben, and Ben said he didn't know the rules down to that fine a point. But if anybody else has guidance, I'm certainly interested.
Oh, I'll speak.
Yeah,
I can't remember ever, a question coming up about how to delineate between, I guess what I would describe as a roommate compared to a tenant. But certainly there would, I guess my own feeling is that, lots of people rent apartments or houses, with other people as roommates. That doesn't turn it into a multi-unit building. That's my own opinion. As opposed to a building that's actually separated into more than one unit, where you've got tenants renting the other dwellings. But I can't remember this ever coming up. So I think it's worth a discussion.
So wouldn't it be more if it's an actual, that somebody's advertising, online, to come in, rent a room, Airbnb, etc. I mean, if that's what's going on, then it's turned into a business. If it's, like Ben said, just someone renting a room to help pay expenses, I would say no. Just my thought.
Okay.
Well, you do see plenty of those. I'm thinking particularly of the Putney Co-op bulletin board for some reason, looking for a room to rent, need to share a kitchen. It seems to me this arrangement does get made. But I'm happy with the thought that if it's more of a roommate than tenants, that's a viable distinction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I would like to, expand that or extend that to the level of, having some criteria for delineating, when it's a roommate versus when it's a tenant. I don't know how we would do that, but that's the level that I'd like to see it, go to, so that it becomes objective when it comes up in the future. I don't think it should be a subjective call. Any thoughts?
I think that's a good idea, because otherwise we're going to run into gray areas.
Yeah.
we'll be charging husbands and wives before you know it. If they're both working.
So it's not built on the building, it's built on the occupancy is what I'm hearing.
No, it's built on the building, or I would say the property. So first off is the property connected to the sewer system. And then if it is connected, then it's charged a fee based on the usage.
So commercial or, so the inn would be different than my house.
Oh yeah.
Or,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when it comes to residential usage facilities, then it's the number of residential units. So I think, we're definitely talking about a property that's in residential use. With Amy's house, the question is whether or not it's should be treated as being 2 units or 1 unit.
so the difference is Amy's house is a single family home. The house across the street from the inn is a rented apartment complex, essentially. Peter's place.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when you've got a situation where you've got a roommate or a tenant,
Right.
but they're sharing a single family property, then how's that treated? And then we've got, Airbnb has created an interesting situation because you've got people that have, are advertising and renting out a portion of their home. And I think in some cases they've got a separate unit, with a bathroom and a kitchenette. In some cases, they're probably also just renting out a room. So, in that case, we've treated that as commercial usage on top of, so there's the residential usage by the homeowner and then a commercial usage as an Airbnb rental. So.
Do you mind if I cut in for a moment?
Sure.
No, please do.
Yeah. Anna Marie Pluhar, anyone know her?
Know the name.
Down in Putney, she's done a lot of work on house sharing and room sharing. I could reach out to Anna Marie and see if she's been able to draw some definition or clarification about tenant versus roommates or house sharing. I'd be glad to reach out to her.
That'd be great.
Well, it's the issue of the sewer.
Right.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
But we're looking
That I
for
understand.
criteria.
But
Yeah.
but you're looking at how do we define a tenant? I mean, that's,
Exactly. Well, Guy, if you would be willing to do that and
Sure.
then report back, that'd be great.
sure.
I don't think this is something we have to decide on tonight.
Sounds good to me.
That's good.
Do we need
Um,
to?
I'd like to say that it seems like we're kind of diving real deep into something that's a little bit nitpicky, personally. If you take for an example, a single family house in Saxtons River pays 1 unit. Well, if they put 12 people in there, they're still paying 1 unit. If you have a duplex, there's 2 units that they're paying. If there's 1 person inside, the proportions are different. If someone wants to rent a room out in their house, they should be able to rent a room out in their house. Unless it's a business, I'm not sure we're going to go around and knock on doors and ask people what they're doing with their house. It just seems a little much for me.
To me, it's like, are we trying to make revenue? Are we trying to tax our citizens because they have a roommate, as opposed to, hey, they have a roommate, that's more people coming and spending money at the market and whatnot. I mean, is it a penalty or do we need the money?
Right. If it's a single family house and there's 1 or 2 people living in it and they're going to rent out a room, it's no different than a single family house with 2 parents and 2 kids in it. I just, unless it's a business, it's advertised, I think we're putting a lot of time into
Right.
trying to police something that we can't police. If someone feels guilty about it, then they can pay another, user fee or something. We don't have
Yeah.
meters, so some of there's a disparity between all of this and the
Yeah.
sewer fees.
But
So
I
maybe,
think I think there's a different issue than that, and that's the person who has an Airbnb in which maybe some of the facilities are shared between the renter and the homeowner. They may say, well, how is that different from someone who's just renting a room in a house? How come I have to pay and they don't? So I think it's important to have some criteria so we can answer that question. I agree with Ben. I think we need to have something established.
Yeah, thanks, Carl, because that's exactly the scenario I would envision coming up is, you've got somebody that's rents out a room in their house through Airbnb, but they're only doing that at a select number of nights out of the year. So they've got potentially less revenue coming in than someone with a roommate. So, to call that a business and charge them more seems arbitrary to me.
All
so
right.
just to be clear, we do call an Airbnb a commercial business, correct? They pay an additional sewer fee?
They do, but I don't remember a situation coming up where it was just an Airbnb for a room in a house as opposed to a dedicated apartment.
Uh-huh. I guess I know
Wait.
both are available. So would you look for more data than the big difference with Airbnb is you have signed up with a national company that makes your availability widely available. So that seems more business-like to me than a situation where people are not advertising.
Okay,
Okay.
let's
But-
hear from Anne Marie and.
Yeah, I mean, Guy, I'd like to take you up on your offer if it still stands.
John, you had something to say?
How many of these do we have in the village? I mean,
How many roommates or how many?
Airbnbs,
Quite a few.
do we?
Well, for instance, Dave Moore, he advertises through that too.
Okay,
And,
so does Sarah, but
who? Sarah. Yeah,
those two, but I mean like residential properties that.
well, there were, yeah, Amy.
I can think of two, Melissa Sheehan and Susie Peters and Annie Guyon. I guess that's
Marg-
three.
What's her name? Megan Barbie.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's four. That's
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they're all Airbnb, but they have rented to people in the past. But they have separate facilities too, those particular people. A dedicated space to for people. It's not like they're sharing the kitchen or they're sharing the bathroom or anything.
and all these people are on our sewer.
Yeah,
And they pay an additional sewer fee, correct?
Oh, they do.
Yes, they do.
all right. Should we move on?
Louise, I'd just like to point out that it looks like Bonnie North has
I
joined our
noticed she
meeting.
has, yes. Do you want to go back to that? Let Bonnie have something to say. Bonnie, you there? Bonnie,
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry, I'm eating dinner.
were you listening?
No, I have nothing to say about this. I just wanted to talk a little bit about broadband.
Did you hear our discussion before?
No, I didn't. Did you already go through it? I'm sorry.
Well, we basically said that the village is covered. We think we have two private companies, and that this is a town issue, and that therefore it needs to come from the town, not from us as a village, as the trustees of the village.
Okay, that's good to know. I wasn't sure how much coverage you had there.
As far as we know, the village is covered.
Okay, so as long as everybody there is pretty satisfied, then that's all I had to say. I was only checking in on that.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you so much for looking into it, Louise.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we ready to go on to website update? Anything on that?
Well, I made the changes that were suggested at the last meeting and sent a document around, and I just wondered what everyone thought about it. And I can bring that up if you didn't get it, didn't see it, and if Louise will let me share the screen.
Did I comment?
You did, yes.
Okay.
Louise commented about the spacing between names in the right-hand most column.
Oh,
And I think that was the main comment that you had.
well, if no one has any strong feelings, I think we go with it. Anybody want to comment?
Which one was it?
Which one?
Beg pardon? I'm attempting to find it to bring it up.
Okay.
It looks to me like it's called Draft 2, village website, draft2.pdf.
Yeah,
Carl?
yeah, I had it and then I just closed it while I was opening my Acrobat. So,
I like what you've done. I mean, I think that the link to the agendas and the minutes is very prominent right at the top. And so those are good changes.
okay, did anybody want me to display it to look at?
No, I've got it up on my computer, so.
Okay. So,
Do we want a motion, Carl?
well, first of all, Louise did mention that I left a gap between Celia and Peter in that right-hand column, just so that the two columns would end up the same length. And she suggested that I should close that up. Does anybody have a preference either way? I don't care.
I think closing it up is appropriate.
Okay,
I agree. It makes it look like two lists. I'm a little confused about whether the auditor goes with a different list because of that space in there.
okay. Then I think if there are no changes, I guess I do need a motion to tell me to go ahead and send this to the town and say, this is what we would like to put up, and authorize us to go in and make changes in it and give us some instruction so we can go ahead and get this posted.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
It looks great, Carl. I know it represents a lot of work.
Now we'll get the word out that
Yeah.
the people that we have it.
Does everybody else know that Carl is working with a broken ankle?
No,
Are you
Yeah.
kidding? That's the third person I know that broke an ankle this year.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, it's an epidemic.
Pandemic. Oh, okay. Let's move on to committee reports. Wait, upgrade, storage building. I sent around the proposed advertisement, and I only heard from Carl, and he had some good things to add. He said that we should have a mention that it's that there's a 1/2-inch wall sheathing, and we didn't say anything about insulation.
not being insulated.
Or not.
Not
No.
being insulated, what'd you say?
Whichever we.
Well, that's what I had heard. I
Okay,
had
no.
heard that.
Uninsulated,
Right, uninsulated.
okay.
I just think that we should say yes or no, because that's an important part of a bid.
Okay,
It's important for the bidders to know about that.
so, should we put this out right away?
Sure.
Yeah.
You're happy with it? I mean, when do you want for the bid deadline? I don't know how long you have to put it, how many times you have to put it in the paper, just once, maybe? I'll find out. Okay.
Do you need a motion?
I don't know. Never hurts.
I would suggest a bid deadline of a month.
month from-
Unless Matt, who knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, has another recommendation.
No, that's fine.
Month from when it appears, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right, if you want to make a motion, you can, but I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay,
Is there anything else on that, on the wastewater treatment plant? Okay. Fire station building,
oh, Louise,
yeah?
on the wastewater treatment plant about that insurance,
Oh, yeah, what was that?
well,
Oh, the VLCT.
yeah, the VLCT. I emailed Alex about that, and I don't think he could figure out much of what they were looking for any more than I could. The document that they sent seemed to be just a list a list of what was spent on a project. So I don't know if we have the documents that we got periodically from our engineer on what was paid. Maybe that's all we need to provide them.
The MRBs or?
Yeah,
Okay, I haven't looked into that. I'll look into that.
do we have?
I have them on my computer, most of them.
Okay, well, if you want, I can contact the person who sent you the email and ask if that will suffice.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. And it's called an MRB. What does that stand for?
Oh, what's it stand for? Ben, you know
I
that.
don't remember.
It's just a monthly budget report.
Okay,
Monthly report of budget. Or was it MBR or MRB? Maybe it's MBR.
I think you're right.
Okay.
Okay,
Um,
I'll get back in touch with them.
Also, Rob said that Dexter has ordered the, whatever, the things to hold the pipe up to stop the rattle. And we did hear Ron Tompkins send an email, wanted to know what the status was.
He hears it too, huh?
Yeah. You still hear it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not quite as bad. You know,
That's because
'cause
your windows are
he-
closed now. Mm.
Right, but when you go outside,
You
you
can hear
can kind of, there's a hum.
What is it?
It's a hum.
A hum. The
Coming
pipe, the
from-
pipe vibrates.
From the wastewater treatment plant.
How long has it been doing that?
Since they put it in.
Since
Since
they
it-
started.
Since it started.
Since it was put in?
Yep, since it went online.
Yeah, there's some harmonics there that they can't figure out with it's the inlet pipe. It's sucking air in and it, the length of it and the bends of it no one can figure it out.
And how far can people hear this?
Well,
I
Matt.
can hear it. I can hear it at my house.
And Ron Tompkins can hear it
Mhm.
Okay, so right down close to it.
along River Street. Well, I wouldn't say that either of those places are real close to the building.
Right. Ingrid Bennett had complained when it came online, and she's up
Okay.
on the top of up on Main Street
Okay,
behind my house. So
Rob also said that they are going to come in and clean the mold, but he said that's not going to solve the problem because it's going to come back the next year. But on the roof, on the ceiling,
yep.
because they used the wrong material. They should have used the same stuff they used on the walls.
That's not in there.
Huh?
That the FRP is not on the.
On the
That
ceiling,
area?
it's different, I think.
No, that's unfortunate.
Fire station. I contacted Jansowitz are going to come in next Monday and look at the leak. But I couldn't get anybody else.
who's coming?
Jansowitz,
Okay,
Jan.
yeah, I got him.
Okay. Good old Travis. Anything else on the fire station?
Not this evening. So
Okay, is there other business?
I've got one thing.
What?
So with the cell tower nearing completion or at completion, Louise, do you have the final signed copy of the authorization that we gave to Harold Buckner? As
With the cell
part of
tower?
as part of the Kern-Hatton covenants. Do you have a copy of that?
Related to the cell tower?
Yeah. If you remember, that was like in 2016 when they were seeking approval.
I probably do. I'll
We
have to look it up.
needed to provide approval as a village because we have some restrictive covenant rights on that property.
Okay,
And so I'd like to review those now that that project's nearing completion.
All right, I will look it up. I must have it.
Do we know if it's online yet?
I don't know that.
Not as far as I know. Within the last week, they've been out there working on the electrical power to it. So I don't think it's up yet. And if there's anything that we had in that covenant, I don't remember seeing it, but if there was anything about physical placement of stuff, it would be wise to double check that, because I noticed in my easement for their access road, they put a gate right in the middle of my property instead of at the boundary, what we're supposed to be, that I straightened out with them.
What did you just say there? What?
Well, they're supposed to put a gate at each end of the road where it goes
Yeah.
to our land.
Yeah.
And they put one of the gates kind of, well, not right in the middle, but well within the boundary instead of at the boundary where it was supposed to be. So I got a tiny corner kind of cut off now with a locked gate on it.
Oh,
So that should be moved, correct?
That should be moved, or I'm happy
But
not to move it. I'm just saying that they may have made some errors if we had any restrictions on the construction as part of that covenant.
okay.
So it would be a good idea for us to double check. I think that's a good idea, Ben, to make sure that everything is done the way we had asked.
Yeah, I hadn't, for the most part, I didn't even know it was up until this weekend, and the fall sun, late afternoon sun struck some shiny stuff up there.
really?
Oh yeah, it's like, oh my God, what is
You can see
that?
it from your house?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yep.
Huh. Oh.
Does it look like a tree?
yes, it does. But it's better without that late afternoon sun on it. I was kind of disappointed when I saw that.
Oh.
But then the next day I was out there and you couldn't see it.
Huh.
So, oh well.
All right, anything else? Did you want to say something, Guy or John, or welcome?
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
thank you.
I was just eavesdropping and
Oh, we're
Glad-
topic. All right. Okay. It's exciting stuff, isn't it?
oh,
It's
some
riveting.
good stuff came up. So
Oh, yeah. Now
Do
you're
we
on
know-
the inside, you know, all the basic dirt. But Carl, we hope you get better. You look
Well,
like you look
maybe
like
I'll
you're
be-
sitting in the manor house there with those
Yeah.
books.
Maybe I'll be dancing in the streets by the time we have our next meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Great.
all right.
And don't forget, it's November 1st, no parking on the street.
November 2nd, yeah.
Well, as
Well,
of November 1st, so remind your neighbors,
All right.
That what?
You adjourn?
no parking on the streets overnight,
Starting now?
November 1st.
Really?
Yeah, we had snow already. Hey,
Oh. Okay.
all right. Did somebody say they wanted to adjourn?
I
I
did.
think Ben did. Second.
All in
Aye.
favor, aye. Say aye.
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 Aye, thank you.